I bought this little EKEN, EKEN H9 camera. It was a fairly cheap camera, but what was most surprising to me about it is it actually came from the factory, still in its factory packaging, and it was in fairly decent packaging, and there's a little chip in the lens, or a crack in the lens here. It's hard to see. Right there, you can see it kind of in the image. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to replace this lens with a zoom lens that will give me the ability to give it a much varied focal length and a zoom length. This lens has an IR blocker built into it, and seems like a decent little lens, but we'll see how it goes. So onward with replacing the lens. So I remove the cover here. It has a removable face cover. And that just comes right off. It's got little snap tabs on it that engage in these little positions here, there, and there. So the lens is mounted behind this cover here, and I think all I need to do to get to it is take these 4 screws out, and then I have to take the back cover off here. So let me take the back cover off with the display on it. So I still have the protective coating there from the factory. So the display cover is pretty much the same way that the other cover is. As far as pulling it out, I'm going to use a little screwdriver to kind of wedge the plastic here so I can kind of get the snap out, I hope. Well, maybe not. Try it along the seam here. I don't have very good fingernails, so there it goes. Oh yeah, I gotta take the battery and memory card out of it too. Let me take that out real quick. So there's battery, and there's the memory card. And to take the display off, there's these little tiny little, I don't know what you call them, but it's a little lever-like mechanism that pushes this membrane down where the connector goes, and then it just slides right out. So this is the piece here that you have to push back. Let's see. Alright. I've never taken this apart before, so just bear with me here. I'm using a very small Phillips screwdriver here. Allow me to take this cover off. I'll leave that one on. I'm going to take these screws out here that hold the camera together. looks like these four little silver screws here hold that cover in place. Oh no, that's the board that held the lens in place. So these two little silver screws there held the camera lens in place. Alright, so I'm going to put those two screws back in because that's not what I wanted to remove. So don't take those two screws out. I can just take this whole thing out of this plastic housing. How about I do that? There we go. Alright, so it's out of that. Give me a better view of what I need to take off here. Huh. It actually looks like this camera should have had a screw right there that's not in here. So, we'll take this little button off here, and then that gives me access to the lens. And on the lens, they glue it in place here. Right there. So you gotta cut that glue off in order to get the lens out. So I'm just gonna take a small flat blade screwdriver and chip that glue out of there. Maybe a knife, we'll see. It's pretty tough glue. They must have used epoxy on here. Multiple places too. Pain in the butt. Wow, they really glued this guy good. I'm surprised how well they glued it. I got this little knife. I'm going to see if I can get in there and get that. Glue out of there or not. speaker away from the little plastic piece there. This is a pretty tough nut little crack here. I'm surprised they use this good of a glue on here. Usually they cheap out on stuff like this on these Chinese builds. Well, I'm going to have to resort to trying a tool on it just to see if I can get it to twist. Alright, so I went and got some vice grips. Let's see if we can get enough of a grip on here without destroying the... Yep, there it goes. So it broke the glue there. Alright. So that puppy will twist right out of there. I believe the thread on this is a 12 millimeter by 1/2 millimeter thread. And it looks like they match up for the new lens. Just want to make sure it'll twist in there before I go anywhere with this thing. Alright. So, be careful not to get any dirt in the CCD down there. I believe it's a CCD. Back together. So I need to slide this switch into this slot there. Get that wire out of the way. The little speaker gets mounted right here, like so. And then this piece comes up here, like so. Had to force my screwdriver shaft down a little bit there. Alright, these two screws still in here. Let's see, how did this go in there? This had to go that way. That one had to go this way. See if we can get everything in there. Fit through there. Does not look like it's going to fit through there, so I'm going to have to pop this little bezel out of there. Alright, got that out of there. Will it fit through there? Oh yeah, it just barely fits through there. So that'll be perfect. Might want to trim this piece out of there. screws back in the back here. So here's the old lens. Clean my fingerprints off the front of it. See if we can see that chip any better. Alright. Alright, now to get this guy back in there. We have to slide these back, make sure they're back. And then you slide this up under there. So you see how the connector has to slide up under there. Try that again. There it goes. So I just basically had to push on it from the back side there. And then you push those two clips in, and that should be good. I'll put the front cover on. And before we get the thing fully assembled, I'm going to go ahead and put the lens on. Come on, you got to thread in there. There you go. And then I missed a little snap on the tab there. Now I can actually glue that thread in, but I'm not going to. Alright, let's put the memory back in. And the battery. Low battery. I guess I gotta plug it in, and I'm gonna charge it real quick. I just hooked it up to a little battery bank here so I can power it up. Alright, so let's see if we can get this thing to focus. And this was supposed to be an IR block lens, but I think it is not. That's why everything's purple. So the seller of that lens had it falsely advertised as an IR block lens. You see everything in the image is purple. So I wonder if I can take this IR blocker off of the bottom of this lens and install it on that lens. I'd probably not. So I'm going to unscrew this lens and take a look at it real quick. Maybe it'll fit in there. I don't know if I'll get it out without destroying it though. Because I bet you it's glued in there pretty good. Oh yeah, it's going to destroy this lens. So I'm going to have to go order an IR block filter and install it on this lens. Because you can clearly see that there's nothing in this lens. So I'm going to have to go online and order an IR cut lens, but in the meantime I was able to remove the IR cut lens from the other old lens. I applied a little bit of heat to it and then just slowly pried it off. And I'm just going to install it on here just to try it out, but first I got to clean all the muck off of it. There's some chips on the corner of it from me trying to pry it off earlier, but I think that those should be alright, because they're not going to be in the actual lens here, in the field of view. See how that goes on there. See if that'll fit. So when you do order a lens to replace it, make sure you get one that has an IR cut filter in it. I'm going to have to glue this on there. So get some glue. Alright, so I'm just going to dab a little bit of glue on here just to get this guy to stay in place. Alright, let's let that dry and then we'll put it back together and see how the image looks. Alright, so the glue is now dry on this IR cut filter, and I'm going to reinstall it onto the camera and see if the filter is working. Let's see, screw it on there. You can see there's two levers here. One is the zoom function and the other is the focus function. The one being closer to the camera is the actual focus. And the reason I chose this lens is it allows me to change the focal length of the camera to a rather close position, so it gives me the ability to do macros now with this lens. I was going to order a fixed lens, but I decided to go with this more complicated lens, and it's screwed in pretty good there. Let's turn it on and see how she focuses first. Oh, look at that. And look, the image is no longer got that infrared overriding the image and making it purple. So let's focus outside, and you can see the nice green trees out there. They're no longer purple. Now it's hard with this angle of the lens there. But back down to the table here. So you can see that I can just bring this into a macro mode and actually focus on something rather close. And I'm only about an inch away, maybe 2 inches, yeah, about an inch away from that bottle there. I'm pretty sure I could probably bring it in closer. So that's pretty close right there. Way closer than I need it, and I'm about maybe half an inch from the bottle. Anyways, I hope this video helps you if you want to change out a lens on one of these little cheap Chinese action cameras. They're not really that great. They work pretty good for doing time-lapse photos, but as far as it being an action camera, the ability, software and processing is just kind of very limited. I hope this will help you be able to change the lens out if you actually need to. And just go ahead and subscribe if you haven't, and like the video, please. Thanks for watching.